Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. My name is Randall. This is the McClures. We react, review, make fun of, and laugh at stuff over here. We are sponsored by McClures.store. It's a company I started to help support Americans making American products. So go to McClures.store. You can help support the channel and other Americans. Trump announced. Trump 2024. He's running. It's official. We all knew he was running, but now it's official. He came out, he did his little speech thing. I might include this in the video, I might not. If you haven't watched it, then you don't give a fuck anyway. So, I'm not going to recap that. But what I did want to take a look at is some of the political analyst, talking head, pundit, paid for retards on TV and see how they're reacting to his announcement. Thought that might be interesting. So I got a couple pulled up. First, we're going to check out Washington Post TV political analyst Brian Crowley shares thoughts on Trump's White House bid. I don't know who Brian Crowley is. I probably don't care who Brian Crowley is. But I am curious to see what kind of bullshit spews out of his mouth. So let's get into it and take a look here.
I'm joined by WPTV political analyst Brian Crowley. Trump spoke for more than an hour.
Oh, not Washington
What are your
Post,
initial
just
thoughts
WP.
about what he said tonight?
Well, actually, more than an hour is short for Donald Trump. You know, what he did was he opened a whole new fight right here in the state of Florida. You know, Ron DeSantis is largely expected to run for president, but we can also add Senators Rick Scott and Marco Rubio, who also might run for president. And in fact, starting tomorrow, a lot of folks in Florida.
So do we think DeSantis is going to actually run? I don't think he's going to run. I don't even think he's going to announce that he's going to run. I don't think it's going to happen. I really don't. I think he's going to wait his turn like he should. Instead of trying to go up against Trump. Why? Like, he is a really good candidate, and against anybody else, he would do very well. So why not wait until you're against somebody else? Let me know what you think.
Are going to want to know, where do Rick Scott and Marco Rubio stand? Are they supporting Donald Trump's run? Right. Are they going to run themselves? You know, there's going to be a lot of division in the Republican Party in Florida.
What about the mood too? Because he started off
again
strong, just
Trump.
Out the gate, beating on President Joe Biden, and then he sort of rambled on and talked about other things. What do you make of that?
Well, it was sort of classic Donald Trump. He started out reading the teleprompter and the prepared remarks, and then he went wandering off in all sorts of different directions. He was very aggressive in some ways in this speech. You know, he talking about what a great president he was and all the wonderful things that he accomplished. But then he also talked about us as a destroyed nation, a nation in decline, and only he can save us. Well, the midterms elections suggest.
I don't think he said only he can save us. I'm pretty sure he said only we, like the movement, America First movement, is what needs to save America.
A lot of voters don't agree with that kind of thinking anymore.
Right, and we actually heard, I want to play a clip right now from Governor Ron DeSantis at a press conference today where a reporter asked him what he thought about the comments that Trump has made about him. Let's take a listen.
We focused on results and leadership, and at the end of the day, I would just tell people to go check out the scoreboard from last Tuesday night.
Right, this also indicating the midterm elections, but also do you think this is an early indication of how DeSantis...
I don't understand DeSantis' shot right there at Trump. So is he saying that Trump's responsible for every election across the country? Because didn't he endorse just a group of people to help them? And I think he still won 90% of them. So I don't know about you, but I don't have a 90% success rate on my endorsements of people. I don't think any politician ever has. So, not to say it wasn't a huge disappointment. Believe me, I'm in Arizona, bro. We got robbed over here.
This could frame a head-to-head campaign against Trump if he decides to run.
You know, what a lot of Republican leaders who oppose Donald Trump getting into this race and have spoken out about it since the midterms, what they like about Ron DeSantis is that He has a lot of the same philosophies that Donald Trump presented, but he does it without all the baggage. He hasn't been impeached twice. He's not facing criminal and civil investigations. You know, there's a lot of baggage that comes with Donald Trump, and Ron DeSantis has none of that at this point.
All right, we only have a few seconds to go, but Brian Crowley, thank you so much. You and Michael Williams will be unpacking much more.
You seem to think that if DeSantis goes to run, that they won't start investigating him and find some stuff and do all the same stuff. Trump's already been through 7 years and millions of dollars and investigators and subpoenas, and they didn't find nothing. So if we run him again, there's nothing to find. They've already looked at it all. They've already subpoenaed all the documents. They already have all the paperwork. We don't have to deal with any of that shit. All right. What else we got?
Starting with the Grammy Award.
Oh, God. Oh, God. We got this guy. Okay. He's trying to be cool again. Look at your hair. Okay. So let's see what the jackass Trevor Noah says. I thought this show got canceled. This guy's still on TV, bro?
Starting with the Grammy Awards. Yesterday, the full list
No one gives a fuck about the
of
Grammys,
nominations,
bro.
which her husband
Don't care, don't care, don't care, don't care.
album
Is this how you get people to listen to the other shit
extremely
that you're talking about? Nobody
hardcore.
cares about?
Yeah, and they should prepare themselves. But if anyone insults him, he'll call his mommy and fire them.
All right, here we
Still
go.
got bombed. All right, let's move on to the big story of the day. As you know, America's midterm election was just 1 week ago. The votes in many districts are still being counted. The runoff for Georgia's Senate seat is still 3 weeks
counting,
away.
folks.
And Wolf Blitzer
Did you
is
hear
still
him?
waking up in the middle of the night shouting,
Election day was a week ago, and we're still counting. How pathetic are
"Key
we?
race alert! Key race alert!" My point is the 2022 midterms are not over, which means now is the perfect time to start covering the 2024 election.
Remember the 90s? Your computer could suddenly correct spelling mistakes. That was life.
The vote dimming. That's what we're going with. Okay.
There have been so many times over the last 2 years when people have said that Donald Jobless Trump was finished for sure.
Jobless? Okay.
You know, they said he was finished when he lost to an ancient artifact. They said he was finished when he was impeached for throwing a house party without his parents' permission. When he got his hand stuck under the fridge trying to get a Cadbury cream egg that rolled underneath there. Just let go of the egg, Donald. One thing people don't realize is Donald Trump doesn't care
funny.
what anyone else thinks about his political future. And you saw that last night because he swapped out the buffet table at Mar-a-Lago for American flags and made a big announcement.
On stage at his South Florida estate, Donald Trump announcing the White House run he's hinted at ever since his 2020 election defeat.
In order to make America great and glorious again, I am tonight announcing my candidacy for President of the United States.
The
Great
former
and
president
glorious.
impeached twice, including for his role in the January 6th insurrection, placing himself at the head of a movement to take power back for his
Oh,
supporters.
God.
This is our country, our government.
Now at the
Insurrection.
center of multiple investigations, Mr. Trump said a weaponized justice system is the greatest threat to the U.S.
We
Correct.
must conduct a top-to-bottom overhaul to clean out the festering rot and corruption of Washington, D.C. And I'm a victim, I will tell you.
Yeah, you are.
I'm a victim.
That's right, folks. I'm the biggest victim of all. Every time I do something illegal,
That's
they
not
come
bad.
after me. I've done 30 illegal things. They've come after me at least 20 times. It's so unfair, so unfair.
That's not bad, though.
You know, as ridiculous as this is, I'm actually glad he's being honest about why he's running. He's running for the same reason every shirtless guy on Cops runs. The popo is chasing him. He said it. But this
That's
is what
what he
Trump
said?
does. He's always
How did
the
he say
victim.
that?
The poor billionaire who only owns 15 golf courses and got to run the world's most powerful country for 4 years. Oh, woe is me. Oh.
Like how nonchalantly you play off subpoenas and investigations and millions of dollars and hundreds of FBI agents and tearing apart his entire life and his family and anybody who's ever met him or talked to him, or like everything was just peachy.
If Trump was a prince in a fairy tale, the movie would suck and the princess would never get saved. You know? Yeah, the dwarves would be like, please, we need you to save Snow White. And he's like, who's gonna save me? Do you know how many scares are in my castle? I'm so tired. Do you know how hard it is to pick from the lavish banquet my
Bro, your
servants
jokes
prepared
aren't
for
gonna
me?
work,
They'd be like,
dude.
but she's poisoned to eternal sleep. He'd be like, I wish I could sleep.
Bro.
You know how hard
Bro.
it is to get comfortable in a bed of coins? So hard.
Bro.
But that's right. Trump is getting the old team back together for one more run at the White House. And of course,
No,
I say
he's
that
not getting the old
metaphorically,
team
since
back
most of the
together.
old team is in jail. The point is, though,
He's not
He's a-
getting the old team back together, as a matter of fact. Hopefully he's be getting a new team. Speaking of which, next video, we're moving past that jackass. All right, so Ivanka Trump makes a little announcement of her own after Trump says that he's announcing. Let's see what she says. Maybe she doesn't say anything.
But Donald Trump did not come to Washington to win praise from the Beltway elites. Donald Trump came to Washington for one reason and one reason alone: to make America great again.
That is true. We could barely hear that, though. Like, where's the statement?
You just mentioned self-driving cars. Well, in the
I cannot hear this shit. Where's the volume to this video?
today, the second of these 7 is being opened.
Okay, well, apparently I should have checked it first, but I wanted to be able to react to it. I thought that was it. But from my understanding, Ivanka came out with a statement and said that she's not going to be involved in, at the White House and stuff this time, which is good because that's one of the issues last time, her and Jared. So let's not have them. All right, now look at this grumpy asshole. All right. All right, let's see what they say about Trump's announcement. This should be good.
To declare his candidacy for the 2024 presidential election, saying America's comeback starts right now.
Are you going to cry, bro?
In politics, it comes despite multiple federal and state investigations, 2 impeachments, inspiring the January 6 rioters, an attempted coup, and criticism over his role in Republicans' underwhelming performance.
Attempted coup. That's what he thinks the old ladies were walking around the White House. An attempt at overthrowing the government of the United States without one single weapon. Okay. They just keep preaching it, bro. Like, no matter how many people are over it and think it's dumb. Did I just pull a Pence, bro, and have a fly land on my head?
In the midterms, I'm joined now by Mick Mulvaney, who served as acting chief of staff for the former president. Previously, he was a Republican member of Congress from South Carolina. Mr. Mulvaney, appreciate you being with us. I'm wondering what you thought of the president's...
Yeah, let's hear Mulvaney. What you got, buddy?
Yeah, well, I think it's still going on. I stepped away to do this interview. What struck me, Anderson, was that he stayed on script almost the entire time. Even when you folks broke off, I was watching on CNN and went to go watch it online. He stayed on script for almost 45 minutes.
He was ad-libbing. He was ad-libbing even when we were on him.
Little bits and pieces, but he hadn't got into the part that I wanted to see, which is, was he going to speak about Ron DeSantis? Was he going to speak about Glenn Youngkin, all of his potential challengers? My guess is the speech probably goes on for a while now, but that was what sort of struck me. Trump doesn't like to stay on script. Okay, he likes to have a script. What he does is he'll start on script and leave and talk about what he really wants to talk about, and then come back to the script and then leave and then come back.
He still did that.
And I didn't really see that tonight, and that's a difference. The only time I've seen that out of him, Anderson, was a couple of times at the State of the Union and then the United Nations General Assembly. So he was clearly taking this thing very seriously tonight. I just don't know if he's got the discipline to continue to do that as he moves forward.
Does he have, who does he have around him that?
Yeah, because very undisciplined people become billionaires. That's how. No discipline. That's the key to success, folks. The key to success. No discipline. That's what gets you there.
It's actually got a lot of experience. How do you think he's going to run?
Yeah, well, I mean, there's Jason Miller is there. I guess Stephen Miller's probably there. Steve Bannon is always sort of around. So, I mean, it's sort of a mishmash, right? And then there's some new folks. The real question is the team that is with him tonight going to be the team that is with him 3 months from now or 6 months from now or a year from now? Probably not, by the way. That wouldn't be the only campaign that goes through changes during the course of a long campaign. But certainly Trump, more than many perhaps, is probably interested in changing people as he goes. So the
Based on what, bro? And why more than other people would he be wanting to change? Going like, do these people just talk to hear themselves? You're not saying anything. And your fucking glasses are bothering me, bro.
Team is probably gone by now.
Get some
really
fashion
is.
advice from the gay dude.
Get in 2016.
Got nice glasses.
Most of those folks are gone. So I don't know who the inner circle is. I don't know who's advising him. But clearly, he decided himself tonight that he was going to stick to the script, and that's a major change in the way that Donald Trump makes these sorts of announcements.
Certainly, what we have been hearing from a lot of Republicans, even the reporters we had who talked to people in the Trump camp. There weren't many people who felt he should announce right now. Do you think it was wise for him to do this?
I don't think he had a choice. In his mind, he didn't have a choice. Remember, he announced this, Anderson, before last Tuesday's midterms. I think it was Sunday or Monday before the midterms. So in his mind, he had to do it tonight. He had committed to that. Trump doesn't reschedule. He would have perceived that as weakness if he didn't do it tonight. Do I think it was a good idea? No.
They're like, look at this guy. I mean, he did what he said he was going to do. What is that? You're not supposed to do that. You're supposed to go with the wind, change with the flow, switch it up. No, bro. He said he was going to make an announcement. He came out and made a goddamn announcement. That's what you're supposed to do, bro.
It certainly, it has some advantages to him. It's certainly when it comes to the DOJ investigation, maybe he makes it look like it's more political, but I don't think that really changes many people's minds. He loses the RNC money that he's been receiving for his state lawsuits up in New York, so there's a negative there. But do I think he needed to do it tonight? No, but once he committed to doing it last week, he didn't really have any choice in his own mind.
Do you think this is good for the Republican Party?
This guy is telling us what's in the mind of Donald Trump. How long did you work for this guy, bro? And you just you can read his thoughts and shit?
No, I don't, because I think he's the only Republican who could lose. If he wins in 2024, now he's a candidate. He is the likely Republican nominee. Can he be beaten head-to-head by Ron DeSantis or Tim Scott? Sure, but it's not going to be a head-to-head race. There'll be 5 or 6 other people in the race, and he'll get the 35% that really support him. And under the winner-take-all primary system, he'll be the nominee. But that means the 2024 race is...
Exactly, which is why none of these people should run. We should all get behind Trump now, all start stomping our foot to the same America First beat, and let's get this shit done, bro. Why are we going to waste a year with primaries doing bullshit?
It's not about Joe Biden or whatever Democrat is on the ticket, not about inflation, not about world events, not about abortion. It'll be about Donald Trump, the same thing we saw in 2020. No one voted for Joe Biden. Everybody voted for or against Donald Trump. It was a referendum on him, and that's what we're hurtling towards in 2024. And I don't see the outcome being any different 2 years from now than it was 2 years ago.
I'm not sure it's true that nobody voted for Joe Biden, but the Republicans that we have seen, the Republicans we have seen who have been backing away from the former president just in the last couple of days since the midterms, do you believe that once again they will stop backing away and pledge loyalty?
I think a lot of the folks that have backed away are folks that either were never with him in the first place or only very marginally with him. There was some folks made a big deal today about the Club for Growth coming out as supporting Ron DeSantis. Club for Growth was never with Donald Trump in the first place. They did it because it helped them raise money. So what'll change is when there's more folks like me, more folks who are 100% Trump, worked for him, really believed what we're doing, and now sit back and say, you know what, I don't think he's the best candidate we have as a Republican. There's not that many of us out there yet. Keep in mind, keep an eye out for those sorts of folks. Liz Cheney was always going to be against this. Larry Hogan was always going to be against Donald Trump running. That doesn't make a difference. It doesn't move the needle. The question is, where were the folks who were with him in
what moves the needle and who Trump needs to listen to is this guy. Because this guy, he's the guy. He's the guy. What the fuck are you talking about, bro?
2016 and with him were 2020, who are now saying, you know what, it's time for generational change. It's time for the next wave of Republican leadership, and Donald Trump is not the best that we have in this party.
Mick Mulvaney, I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thanks, Andy.
Okay. Well, that was pretty interesting, actually. Old Mulvaney being a fucking slimy weasel. Interesting. Okay. Let's see what Maggie Happerman has to say about it. We don't know who the fuck this chick is either.
The reaction to the former president throwing his hat into the ring is
oh god,
really
we got this douchebag.
Even
Le Monde
newspapers.
Yes. That's a New York Post. You can barely see it.
This is a New York Post. Do you see that? You can barely see it because it only says Florida man makes announcement. So, boy, how things have changed. Let's bring in now CNN political analyst and senior political correspondent for the New York Times, Maggie Haberman. She's also the author of Confidence Man, The Making of Donald Trump and the Breaking of America. This says everything.
There is nobody who knows better than Rupert Murdoch that the way to upset Donald Trump is not to say his name. And so it isn't just that he is not the full front page, that he's the banner on the bottom. It's that he's identified as Florida man, and they're not trumpeting him. There is a move away from Trump. I don't want to overstate this. He is
from Murdoch, bro. That's who we're worried about. Like, this is the problem with Republicans. We have such pussy Republicans that aren't really Republicans. Like they call them rhinos, Republicans in name only. That's all, the cannon fodder that these idiots need to continuously bash Republicans. Because they constantly have these pussies agreeing with them to try to sell a book or get a job or, I don't know, appease somebody's fucking second cousin. I don't know. Well, we got all these weak-ass Republicans, like that Mulvaney pussy we just watched right there, go on CNN and throw Trump under the bus, talking about, I know what's best for the Republicans. It's if I go on CNN and bash Trump. Yeah, you got it, genius. Traitor.
Still the front runner. He is still the establishment. He is still a former president. But there are a number of people in the Republican Party who are going to start making clear that they think he is really bad for the party in ways that I think they couldn't quite articulate the same way in, say, 2016, because he didn't have a record. January 6th hadn't happened. We haven't seen all the election denialism of the last 20 months. And so I think all of that becomes a compelling factor.
Is it weird to think, like, was it overnight? Because if you're just at home watching, you're like, well, wait, these people have been behind Donald Trump forever.
Don's right. It feels like overnight.
It feels like overnight, right? That there's been this shift. Was it Tuesday?
I think it was largely Tuesday, yeah. I mean, I think that if the Republicans had had the night that they were forecasting in all of these polls that turned out not to be right, then I think you would have seen people saying, well, Trump succeeded, a lot of the candidates that he backed, particularly in the Senate.
Trump even spoke on that during this speech, though. He was like, I kept telling everybody, stop shooting, win by 30 points and win 30 extra seats in the House and 10 extra seats in the Senate. You know what I mean? Let's shoot for a win. If we win by 2, we win by 2. I think he said something to that effect in the speech. But yeah, the country was excited because we don't understand how 88% of Democrats think the economy is doing good. Which economy? Where do these people live?
Senate, this is a slate of candidates that he largely either encouraged or actually recruited in the case of Herschel Walker. Now, there's a long way to go. Lindsey Graham was down there with Trump this weekend at Mar-a-Lago, or at least in Florida, urging him not to run. Lindsey Graham then last night puts out a tweet about, what an incredible speech this was, because there's often...
How does she know he was down there urging him not to run? Like, where do you get your information, dude?
This habit where people who are critical of Trump then publicly praise him lavishly so that they can get back on his good side. And so we haven't done seeing that dynamic yet, but there's definitely a shift.
What about Trump himself, though? Because watching that speech last night, we watched it together, that versus Trump in 2016, big difference.
It was pretty subdued. And what I would say wasn't difference was the grievance, this sort of I alone can fix it attitude that we have seen him say over and over again, and claiming that he finished things that he didn't finish when he was president, making statements about how his presidency went in ways that it didn't go. There was
like
a
what?
sort of playing the old
Any
hits
examples?
sense of this. So in that...
See, that's the problem with CNN. They just constantly take these small shots at people with no evidence. Like, oh, he lied about some stuff. What stuff? Oh, he said this wrong. What did he say wrong? And what's the correct one? Why don't we ever get that information?
That way, it was a lot like 2016, but I agree with you. This is not somebody who seemed like he's raring to go again. This is not somebody... Now, some of that might have been Caitlin because they knew that networks would not take him live if he was yelling, if he was talking about the 2020 election over and over again. I think there was a real effort to keep him from doing that so the cameras would stay on him. And then as the cameras went off, you saw him sort of slide away from that. He doesn't seem happy. He just seems angry.
It felt like the colorized version of your favorite movie where you're like, why on earth did they do this? And I mean, just the reaction from all of us, because believe it or not, we like all text each other, right? Was that there was an energy that was not there. And the reaction from people that were texting me and in the room with, saying, this is so low energy. What happened? I mean, it feels like a movie, like I've seen this before, and I really don't want to see it again.
It was so low energy that Jeb Bush called it low energy on Twitter, which was one of the knife twists that we saw from a bunch of people last night. But it was, and part of that, Don, is...
Oh, yeah, because all Republicans are listening to Jeb Bush. Yeah, because we really want to know what the Bushes think.
Because it was a speech. It was a teleprompter speech, and he never does well with a teleprompter speech. He always has this part
Maggie, I
where
think it was something beyond that.
I agree with you that it was something beyond that, but I think that when that is the setup, that is always a recipe for not doing well for him.
Maybe
Look, I've been saying for months, his heart is not in this, and I do think that you saw that last night. He really wants to be president again. He wants the power of the office. He wants the protection from investigations. I don't think he wants to go do the work for 2 more years. This is the earliest that he has declared a presidential candidacy in the last 3 that we have seen him run, and this is a long time.
So she doesn't think he wants to, based on what? He came into the race extra early because he doesn't want to? I don't get it. My take on him...
He clearly wants to be Grover Cleveland.
Sorry. My take on him coming to the race early is he thinks that it'll help in Georgia. He thinks if he comes into the race now and he goes and campaigns in Georgia and he tells everybody in Georgia, like, look, I'm coming down the pipe. 2 years. I'm going to be president. I need this guy with me in the Senate. So put him in now. I'm coming in behind him. Let's get this done. Let's do this. And I hope that will motivate Georgia to get out and vote because we need the Senate, or at least significantly closer.
There are so many differences in terms of defying history. The only former president who's done this, a Democrat, but also won the popular vote, I think, like every time. And I just wonder, you've said, Maggie, there is nothing you could learn about Trump that would surprise you.
That's quite literally true.
So nothing last night surprised you?
No, because last night was, again, it was a litany of things that we've actually heard him say over and over again. I mean, I think part of why people were not so roused by the speech is that it felt very familiar, and then particularly when he gets to the part about, he literally said, I'm a victim. He was talking about the investigations into him, and that was the one thing I wasn't surprised, but I was struck by it because that is something you're going to.
And he's not. He literally had districts of attorneys across the country running their campaign for election on elect me and I will find something that Donald did wrong. I promise. They still haven't found it, by the way. They've been investigating this guy up and down forever. They haven't found shit. And the Republicans are like, let's throw somebody else into the ring. Why? What's the October surprise going to be for Trump? What are they going to come out with in October to surprise everybody with about Trump? Nothing. We can just focus on getting him elected.
Hear over and over again. He went head on into the investigations into him.
And he brought up the Kim Jong-un letter that he is under investigation for taking to Mar-a-Lago. That really stood out to me because he's literally under investigation for that. The other thing, though, is
and look at what's happening with you.
Did we hear that? Serious crime. He took a letter he wrote. Holy fuck, people. Did you hear that? He has a letter that he wrote. Oh my God. We need to get the FBI back over there. He has a letter that he wrote. Holy shit, people. Look at this dumb squish mouth, dude. What the fuck is wrong with this girl? What is wrong with people on CNN? Like, even the ones that are kind of cute or pretty really aren't. It's weird.
Ukraine in the background, right? Remember the reason that he was
the first impeachment,
right? And then
yeah.
we had Ukraine happening as.
And he came out and said Russia fired the missile. That's not true. Right. Ivanka Trump put out a statement saying that she's not going to be involved. She said she supports her father. She loves him. She said she's not going to be involved in politics this time around. Were you surprised by that? What did you make of that?
I wasn't surprised by that. I know that, she, I think, has, look, the Trumps in general as a family, to varying degrees, like press coverage. She's much more like her father than frankly, some of her other siblings in that respect. And so I think she wanted a news story about what she was doing, but I do think that she had a pretty hard time at the end of the administration. She was there on January 6th with her father. She
literally just said Ivanka came out and made the statement she's not going to be a part of the administration to get a news story? You don't think she would have got more news if she came out saying she was going to be a part of it? You don't think that would have got covered more?
He was is widely credited by people who were there with being one of the people who got him to eventually tell the rioters at the Capitol to go home. And I think that she felt sort of burned by the experience. Now, we've never really seen a history before where you have individual staff members putting out their own statements about what they're going to do. But it is a reminder that he is going into this campaign in a different way than he was last time.
Did she just also say it's weird that she put out a statement? Because she's a staff member? It's his daughter, dumbass. His daughter, not a staff member.
Just, earlier this morning, Axios reported, Jonathan Swan, that Steve Schwartzman, the CEO of Blackstone, is not going to be with Trump. Steve Schwartzman is one of the few donors Trump had left. So that is actually a really big deal.
I kept wondering, what's he going to do? Yep. What is Schwartzman going to do?
Now we know.
Now we know.
Are leaving. Hey, just real quickly, I have to ask you for something, please.
Well, if Blackstone is going against Trump, that actually might be good news. Super good news. Or BlackRock. Maybe I'm thinking about somebody else.
Please follow up on this. It struck me when you said his heart is not in it. And maybe it's a very simple answer. Is it just because he can't help himself? Why?
Needs the attention, needs the protection of the investigations, and very much misses the power that the office had. It's really that simple.
Karma is a smart.
Well, there is a genius they had on CNN. She's apparently a psychic and a mind reader. And like a telepath or something. But
joining us now is former Deputy White House Press Secretary for the Trump administration, Sarah Matthews.
Okay. One more. Let's do one more. How about one more? I mean, we're 35 minutes in. Anybody still watching this? We'll probably watch one more. The rest of you fucked off a long time ago, so let's get into it.
Sarah, you seem to have a pretty similar reaction last night to Jeb Bush, who, of course, was in turn kind of mocking Trump, saying, what a low-energy speech by the Donald. Time for new leaders. What'd you think?
Yeah, I mean, it was just that. It was low energy, uninspiring. I mean, during my time working for President Trump, I've watched him give hundreds of speeches over the 2 years that I worked for him. And that was by far one of the most boring. I mean, he himself seemed boring while giving this speech. And you could tell he was trying really hard to stay on script. But then he started to get bored and started to ad-lib. And it just turned into a rambling mess, in my opinion.
Sarah, the National Review this morning, I think, says reflects
Rambling
what a lot
mess.
of former allies
Okay.
of the president, Republicans, are thinking and saying. That the headline is just no. I think we can show it. And the first line is, to paraphrase Voltaire, after he attended an orgy, once was an experiment, twice would be perverse.
Poppy, so early.
I know. I didn't say it. They wrote it. I
What,
just repeated it. But
You did say it. You brought it up intentionally
you
because
think
you're fucking disgusting, dude.
It's just the media that was behind him that is turned, and a lot of Republican lawmakers and quote-unquote elites. Does that indicate anything about his ardent followers?
I do think that it's not. I think we need to pass over him. I think that, you know, he's shown that he's not fit to serve. I think that by, you know, personally by inciting an insurrection, I think that he's unfit.
Oh my God, dude. Can any of these morons come up with something else other than their fake story about inciting an insurrection? Who is this dumb bitch, dude? Deputy White House Press Secretary? Which means you are Press Secretary's secretary? You are like a backup that I'd never seen on fucking TV once? Alright, we're not even going to finish this because I can't have too much CNN. Makes my fucking blood boil, dude. Alright, guys. Well, I appreciate you stopping by the channel. Trump 2024. We need to win this. We need to take back our country. We need to save our country. I'm not a conservative, I don't think, because I don't want to conserve what we have now. I'm a constitutionalist. We need to go back. We need to go back. All right, guys. Appreciate you stopping by the channel. McClures.store. You can get quality American products if you want to support other Americans as well as myself. McClures.store. Take care. Bye-bye.